Hello and welcome to another horror review. I'm joined once again by Dale as we continue our journey along the path of Sir Peter Jackson's filmography. Tonight we're discussing the first entry of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Fellowship of the Ring. A meek hobbit from the Shire and 8 companions set out on a journey to destroy the powerful One Ring and save Middle-earth from the Dark Lord Sauron. The movie was made on a budget of 93 million and brought in 898.2 million at the box office. So this one did okay. We're finally here.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, we're here.
Everyone, before we begin, sorry, the Time Lords got involved for some reason. We went back in time last week, and it turns out that the rest of the world's sort of doing it bit by bit instead of just all at once. So 3 hours ago, everything was sitting fine in this computer, and the time and everything. And then it turns out that somewhere between 3 hours ago and now, the world's gone back an hour. Or forward an hour or something. And I'm confused.
Me too. Oh, crazy times.
Oh dear. I understand why people complain because it's not the fact that the clock's come back, because it makes sense because you do get an extra hour's daylight if you're in the northern hemisphere.
Yep.
But the way it's done is just so haphazard, and different time zones do it at different regions of the world. Yep. Yeah, no wonder everyone's confused. And then obviously the algorithms are set up, the world clocks are set up in a certain way and just can't cope.
Yeah, completely. It's ridiculous.
Because remember, we're here. Most of social media and that is developed by Californians, so that should tell you all you need to know.
Absolutely.
Right, what time is it here for each, right? So it's just turned 10 p.m. here on a Thursday night, and I think it's just gone 11.
Yep, it's 11 o'clock here on Friday morning.
Yeah, so we're right into like different days.
Yep, completely. I'm a time traveler.
Where else has because we share, I think most of Africa, we share the same time zone as them. So like Southern Africa, we're only like an hour or two apart, even though like distance-wise we're not. Obviously, various parts of Europe were like 2-3 hours. It's not really that massive a gap. So this side of the world's all sort of the same. America is like a day behind us.
Yes.
Various part, between 7 and 8 hours. What about the Far East? What about they fit in? Are they closer to you guys?
No. No, I'm not too sure. Good question.
That's only a bit left in the world, because we basically this podcast covers most of the continents. So
yeah, right.
Go us.
Yeah, interesting to know. Yeah.
And user, even though you're right next door to Australia, user quite a few hours difference between them, aren't you?
Yes, we are. In some places we're 6 hours apart. Yeah, by time. So about 4 to 6 hours.
And geographically, I know it looks small on the map, but you are close, aren't you?
Very close.
I know America thinks there's a hard border between you, but we know the rest of the world knows they're not.
Yep. They're two separate countries.
Did you ever watch that? Did you ever watch that TV show I told you about?
No, I didn't. Not
I still don't know if they're just being American or joking.
I've got to get time to watch it.
The border between New Zealand and Australia.
I know.
Oh, that still cracks me up to this day.
Ludicrous.
Yeah, world's a funny place and time and trying to figure it all out. But the thing is, if we all operated on the same time, there'd be some people just getting up in the morning, it'd be midnight, it'd be middle of the night.
Yep.
We'll have to have some sort of system so we can people don't go crazy, because it always makes me fun, makes me laugh, especially a lot of horror fans like, I love the darkness, I don't need sunlight, I stay in eternal night. And like, try winter when you wake up and it's pitch black, and you go to work and you work inside and it's pitch black, and you come home and it's pitch black. That messes with your head.
Yes, it's got to, absolutely.
That's the worst time. December, January, the worst times of year for me, because that's not too bad because I sort of work outdoors now and again. But when you're traveling and you're getting up and it's just midnight and the moon, when you're getting up, the moon's still in the sky, and you're going to work,
it's insane.
you just don't feel as if your body clock just goes, I should be in bed, but I'm not, and the moon's up, and I'm walking, and you're coming back, and it's dark again, the moon's up, and you're like,
yeah, that can't be healthy for you, not getting any vitamin D, eh? It just reminds me of miners who have to deal with that. Yeah.
Whereas in Iceland have it really bad as well. It's like 6 months of winter, as in
yes,
isn't Iceland?
Yeah, there's some places, of course, that don't get in. They hardly get any sun. You know, a couple of months a year they get some sun, and the rest of it's dark. It's
Yeah,
like,
and leads
wow.
or is it? Yeah, because that's where Bjork's from. She was a strange one.
Yeah, I've got a friend who lives in oh god, what's it called?
The Reykjavik?
Norway.
Norway? Oh yeah,
yeah, so
they get
she's
bad.
walking around at night time and it's completely light. It's like, wow, that's really cool. Different.
Fun times,
Finland,
but
that's where she's from.
everybody's not here to just talk about time zones and weather patterns. Everyone's here for us to talk about this movie because I think it's a bit popular.
Oh, just a tad bit.
I think people might like it.
I think they might.
And we developed the perfect excuse to talk about it in the horror channel, so yay. Gabby says Finland as well. Yeah, we're just going to nerd out for a couple of hours. We're just going full geek mode. There might be some coherent sentences, but it's just us going to go bah, because that's. I still feel that. Honestly, I watched this again for the 100th time, and I'm just still right in the fields watching this whole movie. It's brilliant.
God, I know, right? You know when you've watched a movie too much, when you can memorize the dialogue. You know what's coming up.
Do you know what's getting even worse now? I'm starting to memorize the bloody stuff behind the scenes that happens during the movie.
Really?
Like when we get to the two towers, the bit where Viggo Mortensen breaks his foot, we all know that scene. Like that's where he broke his foot, and that's where he chipped his tooth. He chipped his tooth in the final battle of this. You know, that's where he chipped his tooth, and that's where he broke his rib.
I haven't watched those ones. Damn.
Oh, I did. I had the this one. I've watched the behind the scenes because do you remember when this come out? In fact, do you remember the trailer?
Yeah.
Do you remember when the trailer first came out? I can't even remember what I was watching. I went to watch a movie and the trailer came out for Lord of the Rings, and it wasn't just for one movie. It was a scene where they're walking up the hill heading towards the Rohan Gap.
Right.
And it doesn't even say one movie. It's like The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, Return of the King, and each year it had the date set out. Yep. And I forgot what movie I was watching because once I saw that, I was gone. I'm like, it's coming. It's happening. Look, they're doing all three. They've got it. They wouldn't put that up if they didn't have all three because the worst thing that could have happened with this was to do one of them and then wait. Like, look at June at the moment. Because of all the David Villeneuve's version, that movie's screwed because part two, because of the writer's strike and stuff, it was meant to be out today or yesterday. And that's not coming out the new year. And they've completely messed up the release schedule. So everyone knows that that's the rest of the story being told. And it's gone. And that movie's lost. But this, we knew it was happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to be overexcited during this. So remember to ring me and punch me and say, oh, it's my turn to talk.
Oh, no, seriously. Oh, my God. It was all the rave over here, that's for sure. Had us all fizzing. Yeah. Excellent.
This
it still makes me cry. It still makes me cry every time I say it. Mm-hmm. Oh.
No, this put New Zealand on the map. If anyone didn't know where New Zealand was, these movies put it in the map, and that was it. Like a big shining star going, right here. That's where it's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. People still call us Middle Earth.
Oh, that was it. And do you know what? Why not? Flipping.
Why not?
Not a bad thing to be associated with.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Wow. It was phenomenal.
Remember some of the interviews they were saying why I wasn't set in England, and the reason being is because England's so industrialized. There's not a bit of like enough countryside that hasn't been touched by the modern world. Although this place is done well in terms of keeping its green zones and still keeps its farms, Yep,
Yeah.
the climate loonies are trying to get farms destroyed for some reason and kill cows because of fart. It's like,
Yeah.
like, really? Farmers have maintained the land.
Emissions. Yep. It's the methane emissions. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Even though New Zealand was in net zero, and then started cutting down the trees for the wind farms, which kill birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, go climate loonies.
Yeah.
I know it's a wee bit of a segue, but just the point. In fact, the point was made that, and this is whole Tolkien's. This is the whole theme behind it was the industrialization, because he went through the First World War, and he saw like France getting churned up. Have you ever seen the movie War Horse?
No, I haven't.
That is a rough movie.
Is it? Oh god.
Yeah, because everyone focused on the Second World War. People forget that the First World War was actually, in terms of the human casualty and animal casualty, and that it was the worst.
It was.
Of the two.
That's why they call it the Great War.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be the war to end all wars. They thought that would be it. After that one, there'd be no reason, but people are people.
Yep.
We're idiots. We're always going to fight.
Yep.
There's no fluffy universe where humans don't bicker with each other. That's just the way we are. We just have to recognize that and maintain it. And try and regulate it so we don't go too far.
Yeah, it's a shame.
But here's another thing as well. The budget for this is actually quite modest for the movie.
It is, isn't it? I mean, oh my god! But the amount of money they made back about $3 billion all up with all three of the movies.
So, yeah, it was 800 odds. You know.
Yeah.
But you see movies now are like 300 million, near 400 million, 200 million minimum, you know, and they're flops. They're not even remotely not even breaking even. Like, they're all losses, and they look terrible.
Yeah.
They look cheap.
Yep. They're crap. They really are. Yeah.
It's like
I don't want to put any movies down or anything, but there are some certain ones that have just come out that are in the movies, and they are like, one of them's 2.5 hours long, and it was absolute crap. There was no storyline. All it was fighting scenes. It was absolutely terrible. What's that called? Creation, with Denzel Washington in it.
Oh, the Equalizer?
Huge. Equalizer. Yeah, that's it. Equalizer.
Yeah. You know, I was based on a cheesy TV series.
Oh god, that'd be about right, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
right?
Edward Woodward. It was actually an English. It was an English actor, played Robert McCall.
Right.
And he went about and he went about in a tweed suit in America, fighting the mob and stuff. It was weird.
Really?
He was like, oh yeah, it was a weird show.
Cool. No, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, the Equalizer. Yeah, it was actually it was based on a TV show.
Wow. Okay. Oh my goodness.
I like the first. The first one was all right.
Yeah.
Except the end scene, because it just got a bit cheesy at the end. It started off good and then it got cheesy, and then I barely remember the second one. I remember watching the second one, just, you know, and if the third one happens to appear in streaming and I'm not watching one of my many box sets I've built up now and haven't got through, I might watch it someday in about a year's time, but not remotely excited. This thing, however, I can stick on for the 100th time.
It never dates. It never dates, does it?
I'm blown away. I'm surprised. Do you think after 26 years? No, 26 years.
23, yeah, 23.
It's more than 20 years anyway, because they screwed up. Warner Brothers missed the trick. Like, all their movies are failing, and they have the rights to Lord of the Rings, and they never re-released it in cinemas for the 20th anniversary.
No.
And you're like, you absolute prats.
They so should have.
And you're like, that's just jing, money machine.
Golden opportunity.
I'd go and see it in the bloody cinema again. If they re-release those, you know, for the 20th anniversary of each movie, I'd go and see them again.
Absolutely.
Without a hesitation. Absolutely. And I'm not even like a hardcore Tolkien fan, if that makes sense. I'm not even remotely. Tolkien fans are next level nerd. They are apex in nerdness.
Yeah.
Which Amazon found out their cause when it started messing about.
Yeah, well, I haven't even read the books. I have to say, no.
Oh, I did. Had to, when I was because once I like I said, we did the Hobbit in school, and did you ever do this? You've got a book, and you basically spent a couple of weeks reading it, reading it aloud. So everyone would take a chapter each and read from it.
Yep.
And it'd be like once a
Yep.
week you do a book. So I don't know if it was on the curriculum or not, but our teacher, I didn't like our teacher either. She was a bitch. But the one good thing she did was introduce me to the Hobbit.
Wow.
And then through that, introduced me to fantasy, introduced me to imagination, and then I found a whole different path. Because if I didn't have that, God, I would not like to think where my life would have ended up.
Wow, that's incredible.
Like,
all right.
Growing up, like, I don't think people
You-
understand what it was like growing up in Belfast in the 80s. It was rough.
Oh yeah. I think the rest of the world knows what you went through. Absolutely.
That
We
was
saw it
not
on the news.
that was not a normal childhood.
No, I couldn't even imagine being in a situation like that,
we
living
thought
like
it was
that.
normal.
Oh
We
my
thought
goodness.
that's the way it was. We didn't even think twice.
Far out.
But yeah, that got me. I always did have a liking for books. I started off. Don't even remember Asterix and Obelix and
Oh yes,
Adventures
I
of
remember
Tintin.
those
Yeah,
comics.
that's what I started off on. That's what got me into reading. And for pleasure, not just for work. I used to always get because they were actually still coming out when I was a
Wow,
kid.
that's incredible.
And then,
Those were awesome.
but The Hobbit and J.R.R. Tolkien, that's what got me. That's what got me into the fantasy world. Without a doubt. And I
Wow.
think that's the same for most people in the world that are into fantasy. These stories is what did it.
Yeah, I would say so.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, the 93 million is like, even for inflation, is still reasonable for a movie of this magnitude.
Oh, absolutely. Far out.
And this is where we
Broke some
see.
records too, didn't it? In the box office. I think it broke some records in the box office.
Oh, it smashed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Even now, they'll try and use inflation and stuff, and they'll use spin. When they can't do it, when they have to use spin, because I think they tried to say Avatar was the next one, and they had to use word soup and language and stuff. You're like, nah, you're just reaching here.
Yeah, it comes close though, very close, but no.
No, this movie changed everything.
It did in so many ways.
And like I said, I've watched loads of the behind the scenes and stuff, and Peter Jackson is pure Peter Jackson.
Wow.
He just running about, that energy that was seen in Bad Taste and Dead Alive and Heavenly Creatures. That energy he had. I don't know what the hell happened with Frighteners, but he's back in form, and he's just a ball of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can tell in this one he was allowed to keep his creative freedom, definitely, as opposed to Frighteners. I think he might have got a scare from that, I'm not too sure, and then he's just gone all out with the visuals and the physical props. It's just, it's so amazing.
I watched the hard swordsmiths. That's how he actually hired Weta hired swordsmiths to actually make the swords. People that make them for medieval reenactment stuff. Actually proper.
Yes.
And each one had its own engraving and stuff. And it wasn't just the main cast; it was everybody. Common soldier,
really?
Yeah. And you see, like you have the chainmail guy, making the chainmail like link by link,
yes,
for everybody.
Oh, gosh, wow.
So what his thoughts were that even like a Rohirrim or a Gondorian soldier or an elven warrior, if you caught a look at somebody 3 or 4 or 5 rows down, they were the same standard as like Hugo Weaving or Vito Morgan, as any of the main cast. You would tell no difference. That you wanted that level of detail.
Far out. That's incredible.
Only someone like Peter Jackson, as we've seen, would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because this time around, after watching all of Peter Jackson's movies, I was watching this in a real different light this time than I have in previous. Like I was able to identify all the little brilliant little, elements that Peter Jackson has in his previous movies, and you can see he's done that here. And it's just so wonderful to see that he was allowed to keep that creative flair going, and he had nobody standing in his way telling him what to do. He got full control, and well, look what he produced. Yeah Freaking amazing.
And he'll never be beaten.
No, I mean, this is something that's never going to be remade again, right? Not for 100 years or something.
They're trying, but
right, yes. I mean, I haven't even watched the TV series.
And that's not even what the lucky thing was that the old saying that somebody builds the empire, the kids maintain it, and the grandkids screw it up.
Yeah.
So that's what I can't remember the wee dipshit's name, but the baby Tolkien. He waited until his dad died before he sold it off the Amazon. He didn't even say he just sold off the appendices. He didn't even sell off the rights. The movie that's still held by Warner Brothers, and that, so he couldn't. That's why that TV show apparently I couldn't even watch it. Couldn't even stomach it.
No, it kind of takes away from the whole trilogy, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah,
so
and
I haven't watched a single one. I know I probably should, but
nah, I have no interest. Do you know what? It's like bad fan fiction. I've seen enough clips and enough people calling me alt-right estaphobe just in preparation for me not liking it. I'm like, do you know what? Crack on.
Yeah.
Far
out.
But yeah, how impactful was it? Jackson decided that the only way he was going to do this was to film all 3 movies at once, like back to back, and just spend that time. And everyone had to commit to being on set, like busy live there.
Yep.
For a year and a half.
He's a genius. What a brilliant idea. I mean, if he didn't do it that way, we would likely have had to have waited a very long time to get to see the movies. And we really took them in. We took all those actors in, and we treated them like family, and it was just I mean, they were here for nearly a year. I think.
Year and a half.
A year and a half, yeah. I mean, what a huge commitment to come to the bottom of the world just to film a movie. But I think that's where the loyalty is with Sir Peter Jackson, is all these people gave up, other career. They put their careers on hold to come over and do this, and look at what they produced, and I just think, it must have been hard for them to come over here away from their families and their children, and I think some of them brought their families with them and stuff, but I mean, there are so many amazing famous actors that we got to see going into Starbucks and buying a coffee and going and dropping their dry cleaning off. It was just so freaking incredible. It was amazing to see them all. Yeah. And I think the way he did it, I'm not too sure if he had have let them go home for a year and then come back and done all that sort of stuff, that sort of filming. I don't think it would have, I don't know, it would have dragged out. We wouldn't have got to see them every year. It might have taken 5 years for them to come all out. So,
and you never get the same feel, because that's one thing he has, the through feeling throughout all 3 of these.
Absolutely.
And you can tell, like Two Towers goes straight after Fellowship of the Ring. I think he just got the right cast as well at the time, because I think there was a setting aside of ego. There has, because what Hollywood's like for their egos. But there was actually a massive setting aside, and it just makes you wonder, because Peter Jackson, he's not like it's not like Steven Spielberg, who has a whole repertoire, a Hollywood repertoire.
No,
like we have been along this journey, and one Hollywood movie, which didn't do very well.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else has been like B movie or independent, and not only one actual Hollywood movie, which any other director would be forgotten about after that.
Yep. Not even.
You know what I mean? After, if that was a debut Hollywood movie for anyone else, the Frighteners, their career would be over. That'd be it. Done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, this secured his fate, really, basically, didn't it? This
so just goes to show that he has definitely, not just as a creative, but in terms of selling his vision.
Yeah.
Because I think that's more as important as, and we'll talk about it in this channel anyway, but it's one thing having a creative vision, but you have to sell it to people.
Yeah.
And if you don't, they're not going to, that's how you get fans. That's how you get people to support you. If you don't, you have to have a clear vision. You have to be honest with that vision, and you have to sell that enthusiasm to people.
Yep.
Or else nobody will come on board.
Yeah. Yep. And I noticed, which I didn't actually know, that Harvey Weinstein was actually one of the financiers in the earliest, one of the earlier finances for this whole thing. So I thought that was showing once again his connections, considering he was also in Forgotten Silver. So it's like, okay, but connect the dots.
Let's be honest. You think that guy was royalty, Hollywood royalty, until everything went wrong.
Yeah.
And he's not the only one.
Yeah, no, of course
not. And I honestly think, might sound a bit controversial, but Hollywood is a cesspit.
Yeah, it is.
Right? We only hear the tip of what they're up to. You know what I mean? They're not nice people. We've learned that.
Yep.
But once he gave up, didn't he give up his board seat? And once he couldn't further people, that's when they all turned on him. So there's don't think anything's for a virtuous reason. None of them are good people.
Yeah. No, you're probably right.
I think with Peter Jackson, I think he had a vision, and I think he used Hollywood. He was never off Hollywood.
Right.
I wouldn't like to think so, because if
he wasn't, no.
Because you see the way what he's done afterwards, he's just withdrawn. He's not living that lifestyle.
No, he's not.
He's not getting himself photographed and this and that, and even the connections he made were very quiet.
Yep, they were. They were
very subtle, and he wasn't trying to be a power player. He just wanted to make it.
Yep.
To make this.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Those were just stepping stones, I think, those people, that helped him out.
How many times you go to a job, you don't know everybody in your work. And you have to treat them as, you serve customers, you don't know every customer comes through the door.
No, that's right.
That's just the way of it,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's nothing against, definitely nothing against Peter Jackson.
And that was the guy at the time. But the thing is, there are people be losing their minds, because that's this weird world we live in today. They're just
losing their minds over it.
Any reason to tear someone down. There's a because of the mediocrity today, the people do not create, they just consume, and they don't even think for themselves. We've had these, that's why we have the discussions we do, because nobody else bothers. Everyone just chants slogans and says buzzwords.
Yep, absolutely.
And we'll see it in the entertainment sphere. This is the best time ever for independent creators. Yep. And I've tried to say that this is your chance. If you're an independent creator, there's a massive gap about to open up in the new year with all these Muppets, because they're still bickering and fighting, and it's like a what do you call it? A follow through effect. It's going to be a roll on.
Yep.
You're not going to see immediately, but in the new year, there's going to be a gap, and those that have a bit of savvy about them and will reach out to their local cinema to get their film shown, will maybe hold a book fair, because whatever, golden opportunity for independent creators, and then people can understand.
It's interesting.
Yeah, if you have the right mindset.
Yeah.
If you have the right mindset and you create for the joy of creating, and you just want to tell stories, there's an opportunity coming up. I see it. And there's a chance, this is where another Peter Jackson will come from.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's the chance for people to get out there. So the normal audience as well is starting to realize they don't need Hollywood.
Yeah. I think they're beginning to know that now with everything that's happening, and that they're paying big amounts of money to go and watch these movies that turn out to be absolute crap. And you've just wasted $50 on a movie, you know, that you could have waited 2 years for it to come out on Netflix or whatever. You know, yeah. So just yeah, I don't know. So people have turned against Hollywood, and you know, when you get people like Sir Peter Jackson, you know, coming from nowhere to this, wow, you know, we've seen his journey to here, and he's just he deserves to be where he is. Yeah.
He has compromised his integrity a bit, because it's obviously, you know, it's like going to a job and your boss asks you to do something you don't want to do. You take a contract. We've seen that, and we're going to see it again later on as we go down here. But this was his moment. This definitely, like, I still remember back from that first trailer. I remember getting so excited, and then sitting in the cinema, like buzzing. Like, I can't. What age was I? It's like early 20s.
Yeah.
I think it was like early to mid 20s anyway, and still having that excitement of a kid.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, there's no, I'm not loud, but I was buzzing, and everybody around me was buzzing, waiting for this movie.
Oh yeah.
To start.
Yep. It was all hell over here. It was all on.
Yeah, and then we'll get that the introduction and open monologue by Galadriel, and how good was it seeing Wingnut Films appear? Like, anybody that's, you know, been a fan and remembering all the old movies, seeing that appear on the big screen going, I've seen Bad Taste. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, all in seriousness.
Yeah. Yeah, they must have been thinking, oh no, not another Frighteners. What?
No, this was complete. Even like the opening music and the scene, and I remember we're all silent. Like, nobody spoke throughout this movie. We just drank it in.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's still, like, even sticking it on the Blu-ray player, you're just like, oh, you just remember back to that experience.
Oh,
which is why I hope cinema doesn't die. You know, I hope, that's why I keep saying, independent creators, you can save local cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
If you know, they don't need Hollywood, you can do internal things, decentralize, and make, like, go to your local cinema, make a deal for ticket prices, ticket sales, get your movies in there. If it's a chain, they might pick it up for a limited release. It won't be massive, but it keeps people in jobs, keeps the doors open, because that experience of going to a cinema, you'll never replicate it at home unless you build something.
No.
But then you'll never have that togetherness.
Yeah, you're right.
Because that's the whole point. It's a shared experience, and
it is.
If you lock yourself away in your tower or your basement with, you know, you can have a 100-inch screen TV, doesn't matter. That experience of queuing up and the whole, you're picking up that vibe from the crowd of everyone going as well.
Yeah, absolutely, eh?
That's all part of the experience.
Sitting there waiting. Yeah, you're all waiting there, excited, and yeah.
Because this was electric. I just remember. I can't remember who, but, like, you didn't go alone. I went with a bunch of mates, and we all had that, you know, like, giddiness and nervous excitement, and everybody in the whole place, and the place was packed. Like, you had to book your tickets in advance. You were no messing about with this one.
Yep.
That's
right.
You had to book it, or else you know. And this was getting shown for weeks. It was packed. Every time.
God, yeah. Yeah, we had midnight screenings over here too. We do have midnight screenings. So yeah, that's pretty phenomenal when you can go and see something like that at midnight with everybody else. It's awesome. Awesome experience. Yeah. Be the first to watch it in the world. Yay.
And that's it. You're just remember the time. The time was magical. You know, do you remember having that good sense of like positivity? Like, there's none of that now. People are only liking movies despite others now. It's weird. Either one direction or the other. That's one camp or the other, you know, and the camp changes faces for whatever the current thing is. But movies are being watched out of spite or not being watched out of spite, and there's no genuine joy. It's gone. So sad.
I know. Don't get me started on that. Oh my god.
But I remember this movie in particular. I remember having fun at the movies. You know, I've always remembered having fun at the movies, but this was something different.
Yeah. It was just a whole brand new thing that nobody had ever seen before, you know. I mean, the visual effects, they were nothing. You hadn't seen anything like it, you know. So I think everybody was just mesmerized.
The only movie that came close was Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
for that
came pretty
impact.
close. Yep.
You know, I'm
Yep.
just thinking throughout the time of history in movies.
Yep.
The only thing I think of having that impact on me was Jurassic Park when it first came out.
Yep.
Of
Because
holy
that was
crap.
completely different. Absolutely. We got to see dinosaurs.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
But that was nothing compared to this. Like, I remember going into Jurassic Park thinking, yeah, it's a monster movie, it's a dinosaur movie, blah, blah, blah. I've seen those loads of times. Oh, yeah. And then I remember getting blown away by the effects. Briefly, and then getting in, but the story was basic and that, and the wee kids were annoying. That wee girl in particular was irritating as hell.
Yeah.
And there's loads of things that take you out of it.
Yeah.
This, I've never had a cinematic experience like this in my life, and that's not just this movie, but the trilogy.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
But we'll start off, obviously, the introduction and how, and that's one of the things about it. You don't need to read the book to enjoy these movies.
Absolutely not. No. I think Peter Jackson's storytelling in this was enough to get you through. I think the world building was done so amazing that, you know, and then they showed us the maps, so we got to see, you know, where everything is. So we didn't need to read the book. No, not at all.
And the whole thing of Sauron, you know, you didn't need a history lesson. You didn't need to read. Like, now you go and watch a dopey superhero movie, and you apparently need to watch about 6 TV shows and 2 movies prior just to understand what's going on. And this, you don't need to read the books. You are told everything. Galadriel, Kate Blanchett gives that whole monologue introduction to Sauron forging the rings and giving them as gifts, and nobody knew he forged. I mean, you had the whole thing.
Yes.
And then we'll go to the first battle of Beleriand, where Isildur and Elrond, you know, are side by side. The last time human and elves fought together.
Yep. Amazing. That was just incredible.
I remember seeing the effects. This is the first time as well, this whole idea of the armies clashing together. And this is where the marriage of special effect, you know, practical effects and CGI happen.
Yep. And see, that's what was missing from the Frighteners, right? Was the physical props mixed with the visual.
Yeah, because those.
And then, look what we see now. I mean, that's just incredible.
Imagine doing that. Imagine if they had done that to him. If he hadn't done Frighteners, and he didn't understand Hollywood, and he had one arm tied behind his back, this would have been abysmal.
It would have been.
Just with this series we're doing, the more I'm realizing that was a pivotal movie. It wasn't a good movie, but it was pivotal. It was important. It was a movie that needed to be. You know when you do that one thing and you make a mistake in work and you learn, and then that just changes your whole career.
Yep.
Or you're writing. Like I've spent last time I'm going through writing, a lot of it's just because it's stuff I can't work with, so I'm getting rid of it so I can get my head clear because it's been clogging my mind. But getting that stuff down, making those mistakes, you know, that's pushing me forward.
Yes.
I've done stuff in work where I've made absolute clangers. In fact, my first clanger, I broke a server, built a database because I inserted all the images individually instead of doing it a different way. And if I hadn't done that, and if the IT manager hadn't come down and gone, "Who are you?" I wouldn't have learned like my whole career as a database builder. That was back in early 2000s, so I wouldn't have learned that if I hadn't made that mistake.
Yep.
And I think the Frighteners is the same here. If he hadn't made the Frighteners, if I hadn't been the absolute dog pile, you know what I mean, just absolute wreck that it was.
It was a wreck. Yep.
He wouldn't have understood how studios can screw you over and how these films made by committee and stuff and how you can have an idea. So I think it focused him to give him an idea of, right, I need this built into my contract. I need this. I need these commitments or else this doesn't happen.
That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's where the vision comes in. To be able to sell that vision is key. Because this is taking a chance. You know what I mean? He's still a relatively at that point, he's still a relatively unknown director.
Absolutely. He was, indeed. Yeah.
You think of,
and nobody knew where the hell New Zealand was for a start.
Mm-hmm.
So, people are like, what's this alpha blimmin' movie you're making down in New Zealand, and it's like, well, we don't know. We don't know, but it looks amazing what they're building. It's pretty damn wow, amazing times. It was.
Yeah, talking about there, when he built the Shire, when he built Hobbiton, he took his artists down with them, they scouted the locations, and the artists sat and they sketched using the location to make sure it was right. And then when they found that particular piece of farmland, that's it, they started. But here's, once again, his level of detail. They built this a year before production. They planted the flowers and vegetables a year before production so that it'd be grown. Because his thing was, he wanted it to look as if it's been around for hundreds of years. What he didn't want was, do you know how they do sets? Like Western movies like that, they do these plastic looking sets.
Yep.
And it looks like it's a toy, and they do all these, look at the green screen nonsense now, you know what I mean? It looks wooden and plastic and horrible. And he's like, no, this has to look as if these people have lived here for hundreds of years, generation upon generation, and that's it. So he went as far as they planted the vegetables.
I didn't know that.
So that they would grow.
Wow. So they look natural.
Rather, no, because if you went and grabbed the load and stuck them all in, it doesn't have that look.
Yeah. Oh, God. Isn't he brilliant? That's amazing foresight. Yeah.
But being prepared to do that, nobody would be able to do that today. They couldn't. They want all these, like the factory production line, they want them out in like 5 minutes. And it's like, he took the time to go, we're planning this before anybody even sets foot on set. This is getting built. This is what's happening.
It's incredible. Far out.
I think because the unique thing of filming all three back to back, I think that's what let him as well, give him the leeway. Because like, we're not going to build sets, turn them down again. We'll do this once, and then we're using this for all three movies.
Yep.
We build this set, it stays because it's going to be used in all three movies. I think that's what's probably a selling line. This is an initial headache or investment at the start, but the suits of armor are going to be used in all three movies. So I think he probably would have talked about it like that. It's a third of the cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And once again, 93 million in the scheme of things, that's not a massive amount. That's still on a budget.
Yep. Absolutely. Incredible. It's incredible what he can do with such a low budget. It's just like, wow.
But we've seen what he's made on a shoestring budget, you know what I mean? Stuff out of a shed. So all he's done has been given, okay, this is how I'm spending money and getting the right people in. And he's built, Wingnut and Weta Studios, he's built from scratch. Everybody knows him. He's not a standoff aloof. You should see him. He's in the weeds sort of person.
Yep.
He'll jump in. He works the camera. He's principally a cameraman. He's a special effects guy. He's a director last.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And he's got that vision, and he can pull it off. So people believe in him, I think,
But taking that time did work story-wise because I think we needed to see the Shire.
Oh, it's very important. I think that was really important. Yeah. And the fact he started off with the Shire, well, when we get introduced to the Shire, it's like, oh my God, what a beautiful place. But you know, that whole build up between Frodo and Bilbo and meeting Gandalf for the first time, and you know, there's a
And
little
you
bit of humor
didn't
in
need
there.
to read The Hobbit as well. That's another classic thing. You knew that there's another story behind it. You knew this is start from another story.
Yep.
Because Bilbo does his introduction and 11th birthday, and
Cool.
the characters all know each other. We're not that magic, you know, they all know Gandalf. He's best friends, and they make reference to the previous adventure. And it's done so seamlessly.
It is. Yes, absolutely.
Where today there would be like an hour's worth of Dad Tribe to explain it all.
I know, right? Yeah, I think I think if we didn't get to go through the Shire and meet everybody and get a sense of what hobbits are, then we probably would have been wondering, why is he doing this? Why is he going off on a mission? What's motivating him? All that sort of stuff. But we get to see that Bilbo's had a huge influence in his life. He's told him all the adventures he's been on, and I think we get to see that Frodo wants a little bit of that, but he's a bit scared to leave the Shire. But then he has no choice. He has to leave the Shire. And you know, and there are bits in the movies where he could have turned around and got back, but he didn't. So that, I think that showed us how close and how close the hobbits are to each other, and they're like a little village, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And these family, they have their bicker and stuff, but they're like a big extended family.
Exactly, right.
And
it's brilliant.
their little petty bickerings are not, you know, I mean, there's no outright hostility or anger, or, you know,
it's all in fun and jest.
And you know, these are generational, like any family, you know, your uncle did this, blah 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 blah, and it's all carried on. And but they're all together at each festival. They all sit together. They all sup mead together. They all go to the tavern together. You know, they all trade together. It's never just peace, and we needed that because danger was coming, that this place was not going to survive.
Yeah, you're right. And then we get introduced, obviously, to Merry and
Merry and Pippin.
Merry and Pippin and Sam, obviously. So we get to see who the main character is going to be, some of the main characters are going to be as well. So that was a really awesome introduction. Yeah, the Shire.
Yeah,
what a wonderful place. Wouldn't you love to live there? They rent it out overnight for people to go and stay. It's quite cool.
It seems like a cozy place. And there are cultures do that. Not so much that everyone builds up, but people forget about building down. It can be just as valuable and cozy, but
absolutely,
everything's practical. The roof's a garden. Everything's all interconnected. Nothing's wasted, and it's a peaceful life. And that's you needed to see that from the hobbits. That the fact that they have no interest in the outside world.
Yeah,
they have no interest in glory and wars and blah blah blah. Their whole day could be revolved around their meals.
Yeah,
which was saying, you know, and every meal is not just it's a social occasion and laughter all the time, and it's just preparing us for the start, because believe it or not, this is a horror story.
It is.
Like
it's
there's
a
no
sci-fi fantasy horror.
When we get this, there's horror elements to this, because obviously we find out that the ring has woken up. That's why it's been whispering in Bilbo's ear. And he's felt it, and he's obviously had correspondence and talked to Gandalf about this. We didn't need to see all of that, because
we didn't.
We know they've been talking. That's why Gandalf's turning up for his birthday, and they've had the plan in motion.
Yes, that's Peter Jackson's storytelling for you. It's so wonderful that we
nothing's
don't need
wasted.
to read books.
Once again, nothing is wasted, and that's his skill. Is every bit of screen time is important.
Yep.
There's no fluff and filler.
No.
And that's what he does best. He goes into the detail, and he uses every scene to tell the story, and there's not many like him.
No, and we've seen him do that in all his other movies as well. His
Mhm.
attention to detail is incredible.
Bar
That's what
one,
sets him
bar
apart from
one,
everybody
bar that
else.
one example. Like even that Forgotten Silver, that mockumentary, that even the level of detail in that for a throwaway, you know, something that could just be forgotten about. Amazing.
I know. Yeah. He puts 100% into everything he does. It's just incredible. Mm.
The casting as well. Like I didn't see actors, if that makes sense. I saw I saw the characters, and that's what I
Yeah.
love. I forget about actors' names. I don't go to watch actors.
No.
I go to get told a story.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. You're right. They were completely different than their actual selves. I think it launched a lot of people's careers as well, this movie.
There's some, unfortunately, there's a few that's all it did, and they're still hanging on. And
Yeah.
there's like the actors that played Merry and Pippin, and that
Yeah.
even Elijah Wood,
Absolutely.
that didn't really do much after this, which was a
No.
shame.
Yeah.
And it's also quite sad the way that they jumped on certain bandwagons just to stay relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little bit sad, but you know, you see the likes of Viggo Mortensen. I mean, what he did afterwards is pretty incredible. But you know, before then he was just another name, you know, and then wow, now he's just, you know, world famous. But you're right. I mean, I don't know. It just he made them so different that they just did not look like their normal selves, and I think that was just brilliantly done. You know, because you know we watched Brad Pitt and we watched Tom Cruise. Well, they always look the same.
And the actors sound the same. And no, he had taken these. They had to spend like 6 weeks in elocution lessons and so forth before they even start. You know, I mean, this was drilled into them in the pronunciations and
Yes.
everything. There was no, and you couldn't tell who was what nationality because they were all Middle Earthers, and that's
That's
what you
exactly
want.
what I mean.
That's what they needed to
Yes.
be. If it would have been like a cog, a Hollywooder going in, and
Yep.
I'm big star Hollywooder, and there's some heavy hitters in here as well. And you've got Sir Ian McKellen, Sir Christopher Lee. You know, I mean, you don't get her bigger than that. And even they were just the rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, there were some big names in there. Yeah.
I tried to find a video to share with you. It's only a short clip, but I couldn't bloody find it again. It used to pop up all the time, but it was Christopher Lee in an interview talking about Ian McKellen. Sorry, it was Ian McKellen in an interview, and he was talking about how Peter Jackson would make him do 78 takes of one particular scene, and he was talking to Christopher Lee, going, "I don't think I'm good at acting anymore." He actually got self-doubt, saying, "I don't think I'm good at this anymore. I've had to do 78 takes. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it." And he was starting because Ian McKellen's the one that actually is a massive Tolkien fan, and the Lord of the Rings is his Bible. He would bring it and read it on set and stuff and be immersed in his character. And he was 61 or 62 at the time when this started.
Far out.
So putting that through that, but he actually was speaking to Christopher Lee. I don't think I'm good at it. Christopher Lee, like, it doesn't matter. I just did 92 takes of something similar, you know, because this is what Peter, he's like, okay, we'll do the same, but we'll do it, I guess, from this angle. I want to do it from this angle. And we've seen him do that in the other movies.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Even Meet the Feebles, we've seen him do it. You know
yes,
what I mean?
Exactly. It's wow.
It's supposed to be a daft throwaway movie, but once again, because of the way he is, even with puppets, he's like, no, we're doing it again, it's wrong.
Yep. Yeah, just imagine. Oh my god. 94 takes. Oh my goodness.
I can't find the bloody. If that clip ever pops up again, I'm sharing it to you because
message it.
Because actually I went down a rabbit hole last night trying to find it, and but yeah,
no.
we'll wait till the later on to talk about some of the Christopher Lee stuff, because oh my god, that guy, you couldn't think he's any more of a legend.
I know, right?
Oh
god.
Yeah, but yeah, we've got the whole setup. Sorry,
it goes to show his level of detail, you know. 94 takes or 70 something takes, that's just him. That's what we'd expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what sets them apart from everybody else. Yeah.
And I don't
Anyway.
think general Hollywood could deal with that.
Oh no, they wouldn't even allow that, right?
Oh,
I'd be like,
there'd be hissy fits and toys thrown out
Yeah.
of prams and actors
Contract
crying and
ripped up.
especially today, the flipping idiots that are, you know, and this new generation are just, you can't even like them. And you can't, no, but honestly, they're just unpleasant people.
Yeah, I know.
This is also a generational thing of, you know, of the original, like, especially British actors are all generally theatre trained first and then go into movies.
Yep.
So you've got that thing of, so you have that background of, you know, performing on stage and it's 100% on you and perfecting your craft. And then movies is just another avenue.
Yeah.
That sort of old school, you know, this is very prevalent here because you needed that and that work ethic as well.
Yep, totally.
But yeah, we've had the whole scene up. When we first get introduced to the Nazgul, oh my god, like, I'm a horror fan. And even back then, and this is a fantasy movie, I'm like, oh, you know. And it's only blokes in robes on horses, you know what I mean? That didn't really do much.
God, but weren't they terrifying? I remember the first time I saw them, I was just like, whoa, they are hella scary. The wraiths. I think the only thing I've ever come close to seeing like that would be Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. You know,
I saw a clip of that last night, the end scene with Christopher Walken in the.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee was in that one too. I remember him. In fact, I hadn't seen him in movies for ages.
Christopher Walken?
No, Christopher Lee was in that. He was a judge.
Oh, Christopher Lee, yes.
Christopher Walken was the headless horseman in that, but I hadn't seen Christopher Lee in movies in ages, and he was the judge in that. And I remember in the cinema going, you know,
yeah, right.
Yes, sir.
See? Yeah.
Sitting in my seat in the cinema going, yes, sir, I'll be good.
Oh my
he wasn't
goodness.
even talking to me.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, that they were incredible, aren't they? Just that whole scene with the horses and they're scary. They're scary. Yeah, even
we never got the full reveal because that was Val Morgor. We're not even seeing Mordor yet. You know, I mean, that's not even on the radar.
Nope.
And we're only seeing the turn of Isengard. We're only getting hints of the sort of the world of what could be. And then when it flicks to the dark contrast, like there's a real use of dark and light contrast with this.
It's incredible. We go from the Shire to Bree, you know, the contrast from light to dark, and then there's some scenes where, you know, that with the what's her name, the witch, whatever her name is, you know, in that scene. So between, you know, and in that scene you see light and dark working together, you know, it's just like incredible. The tones are just, he's just a master. He's a master of tones, isn't he?
Yeah, but it all has a sense of urgency of this darkness is sweeping.
Yeah.
And everything, you know, there's nothing good about it. There's no, like, you know why people try now, oh, let's be ambiguous. Oh, they're an anti-hero, they're this. No, it's sort of crap.
Yep.
And they think they're reinventing the wheel, but they're not. They're just, you know, being silly.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, ambiguity just doesn't work sometimes, you know. I mean, you want to give it a bit of mystery or whatever, but it's not really, because it's throwing your readers or your watchers off, because we've got too much to think about and it's too complex a situation, you know. And especially with Tolkien's world building, I mean, far out, that could have been a mess. It could have been a right royal mess.
Oh, in the wrong hands, and we've actually seen what the wrong hands could potentially be.
Yeah.
If they'd got hold of it. Thankfully, they only got a wee sliver.
Someone else's. Yep. even James Cameron, sorry James Cameron, but you know, if he got a hold of that, I mean, it would have been a completely different film, right? It just wouldn't have had the heart in it.
Mhm.
It just,
Or likes of Ridley
you know.
Scott, even, you know what I mean? You think of Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg couldn't do it, Ridley Scott couldn't do it, James
No.
Cameron couldn't do it.
No.
Because
No.
we've seen their efforts. If they don't have a good writing team behind them, they're stuffed.
Yeah.
Well, look what's happened to the Terminator franchise. Look what happened to the Alien franchise. Do you know what I mean? Spielberg, you know,
People don't bother.
he had his day in the 80s, and then that's it. He has fallen off, you know what I mean, fallen off a cliff.
Yeah. And they're dated, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All the movies are dated. Yeah. They're not the trilogy. No. 20 years later, 26 years later, whatever, it's still the same.
Still got that same feeling.
Emotion. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's still, I'll probably watch it 100 times. It still makes me cry, you know?
I'll watch it 100 times again. I'll still get that, you know, emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's so beautiful, and it's so sad too. It's tragically sad and beautiful.
But that's the whole point of art. Doing less of emotion.
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
his job, and you feel for the Shire. You have to be invested with the heroes.
Oh yeah,
you gotta have to want them to succeed, because if you don't, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I honestly, in this particular movie, the part one, I think one of my favorite scenes is when we get to meet Strider for the first time, when we get to see him in the pony. It's just like, that scene was just incredible, you know. Made him out to be such a dirty, filthy little ranger, when in actual fact he's the heir to the throne, you know. Yeah, all those little.
That was one of the changes, because he doesn't get revealed as Aragorn until the Return of the King, or sort of towards the end of the Two Towers, if I remember rightly. So in the books, he doesn't actually get revealed till later on. It's like a big reveal. But I think actually, for this, because people will sit and argue with us days, but there's a difference between storytelling in film and books. That's why the two they're never the same. They're two completely different experiences. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking it should be the same experience, but you're not. You read a book, I read a book, we're going to imagine completely different things. Yes. I know I've talked about this before. Yep. That's the beauty of books and going off in your own little world. It's a completely different experience to going for a shared experience in a cinema. Completely different thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to have, I think I'm getting that out of the way, and just having it built in there was good, because I didn't feel cheated. No,
not at all. No, but you know, Tolkien fans might not agree. You know, they might, you know.
Well, I'm not a Tolkien fan. I'm not a Tolkien scholar. You know, that sort of thing.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. The scholars that are just, I think as a fan, they probably would have appreciated it. Yeah. But you're right. There's a big difference between movies and a book.
Yeah.
And the thing with this one is that they get to tell us what's happening. We get to see it directly. There's no ambiguity. There's mystery, but you know, that's all revealed later on in the other movies. So
yeah, and it doesn't. Once again, it's done efficiently.
Yep.
Like, there's no time wasted, and even the extended editions of this, you still watch them and you're like, more please. You know, just.
Yeah, because when you watch it, when it's not the extended version, there's a lot that's been cut out, but that's okay too, because it gets you there faster. So it depends what you want to watch. I've got the extended version box set, so
yeah, that's it. You know, so we just got that. You know, we've got him introduced. It doesn't take long before he's we know who he is. We get it, but it's not taking over the whole thing. It's not the whole story. It's just his wee bit of story. His bit of story is going to come later. This is Frodo's story. This is Frodo getting thrown into this world.
Yeah,
this
all
is the
Frodo
coming together of the Fellowship. This is about the Hobbit and the fact that the Shire, you know, the fact that the Nazgul were coming to the Shire. He's like, I have to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got this, we've got them prepared, and then also we get the meeting between Gandalf and Saruman.
Hmm. That was awesome. Oh God.
Christopher Lee was 78 years of age. He did that. He started.
Far out. He should be well and truly retired by then. Oh my goodness. He's wow. Incredible. He's an incredible actor, isn't he? He's just amazing.
That's to say, you'll never get his leg again. You know, he's of a generation. Him, Peter Cushing, Vincent Price. You know, all.
Yeah, but we end up hating his character. That's the sad thing about it.
But you're meant to.
Yeah, you meant to hate him, but it's just like, oh, but you're such a great actor. Damn, you know, Dracula.
Once again, I went down to Christopher Lee. Like a lot of interviews and stuff, he is such a fascinating man. He speaks like 5 languages and, you know, fluently. He's ex-British Special Forces as well, which
wow,
is fun. Yeah, he's a serious man. He's not to mess with.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in the Return of the King because there's particular scene.
Yeah,
78, and then the way he admonishes Gandalf, because you know why Gandalf was made out to be the giant.
Yep.
The giant among men, the wizard, the wandering wizard. And when he goes to Saruman, there's that deference. He's the head of the order, and he just tells him off. Why are you only coming to me now? And you're smoking out weeds, addled your brain. And Gandalf for the first is all meek and head down, and we only see him like that with Saruman and Galadriel. Is the only times he's actually meek. The rest of the time he is a giant, you know.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, the play out the betrayal. And those that didn't, you know, didn't know the story, you didn't need to mess about.
No.
You just need to go straight away that he's turned, and this has all been going on. And Gandalf will completely miss the mark for some reason.
Yeah. Well, he seems like he's been very busy in his own mind or in his own little life, and we don't get to see what's happening with that, which is kind of quite cool because he's got an air of mystery to him, you know. And then when those two face each other off, it's like, wow, that was incredible. That was incredible.
And that was more, once again, there's a bit of effects and CGI, but it was more a battle of minds.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the CGI, they pulled it off at some point. Absolutely, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, but that scene in the castle, wow, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and even the fact that likes of Isengard being brought to life.
I know.
You're just like, because I remember, like I said, as a kid, this is like, they'll never make this movie. There was an animated one made in the sort of 80s, and it did a decent job.
Yeah.
But there's no way. The thought's always been, this world's too big. You can't do it.
Yeah. You need someone special to be able to pull this off.
You do, and you need not just it's okay having one visionary, but you need and that's what Peter Jackson does so well, is he has people loyal to him.
He does.
And without that, you can't achieve anything. You know, it's an amazing gift.
Yeah. Him and Fran work together. Amazing. They're an amazing couple. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all escalates was the chase for the Nazgul, and then obviously meeting Strider continues. Him then, you know, realizing that Gandalf's not coming back because of the betrayal. They don't know what's happening. And that's another thing, is now you can pick up a phone and ring somebody. This is, you know, somebody could disappear for months and you don't know, and you just have to make your own calls.
Yes. That was scary. That was scary. Yeah.
I didn't put a note, but we got the most awesome line ever in a movie. It's like,
which one was that?
Surely he knows about second breakfast.
Oh, second breakfast.
That was one of the best lines ever. What?
It is.
Yeah, you've just had breakfast yet, but surely he knows about second breakfast. Gets hit with an apple in the head. Merry and Pippin served a very useful purpose in this, because you know why they can do those over the top characters and can be irritating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think they needed those little comical bits in there. Yeah.
Or else this would just be so heavy.
Yes, it would be too heavy. It would have been saturated in it. Yeah, absolutely. So then once again we see a little bit of Peter Jackson's phenomenal humor coming through, and it could have turned out to be quite cheesy, but it wasn't. It was hilarious, because then you get to know that, well, of course the hobbits are funny little creatures, and they've got a happy sense of humor, and you see that coming through with Merry and Pippin, and I think that's really cool, because Sam's quite a dark character for a hobbit. And so you've got the two funny characters who look pretty much similar.
Yeah, it's brilliant the way they did that with the like I said, that's what I said at the start about the casting, because I don't think you could put any, you couldn't replace one of the cast with somebody else. Just the way that's come together, set in your mind. Christopher Lee is Saruman. Yep. Like, we can talk about Christopher Lee playing Gandalf. Like, no, he's Saruman. That's, Ian McKellen's Gandalf. You can play about with it, but it just would not work. This particular combination of every cast member being in their place.
Yep.
Works.
Yep, absolutely. Every single one of them. Yep.
And then obviously Frodo, he's wearing the weight of the ring, and we're only like the ring itself as a character.
Yes,
and that's something he brought out so brilliantly, as the ring being, it's a sentient being.
Absolutely,
it's not a device; it's a living sentient being that has one purpose, and that's to go back to its master.
Yeah, I mean that plot itself is just pretty brilliant, and that might not have been pulled off very well, but it was amazing. We got to see, I mean, Peter Jackson, him and his close-ups. Oh God, isn't he just an expert at close-up shots? And you get to see Frodo's like scary little eyes, and he's a little terrified, and he's just got the weight of the world on his little shoulders, and you invest in him as a character because you want to see him survive, and then when he actually gets the ring to where the elves are, and it's like he had a chance to leave then and go home, but he decided not to. That whole scene was just, oh God, tingly.
But once again, back to the beginning, we needed to see Hobbiton.
Yeah.
We needed to see the Shire. We needed to see Frodo in his happy, jovial sense.
Yep, in his natural environment. Otherwise, I don't think we would have invested in him as much.
So you wouldn't have got to see the dire change of even a short time with his ring.
Yes, I mean, look, Bilbo had it for 60 years, and look how much that changed him, just that little bit. And then Gollum had it for 500 years, and
that's his story. We'll see in the next one, obviously. That's a heartbreaking story, that.
It is. That's
going to be a conversation and a half.
Yeah. Absolutely. But Frodo's, he did brilliant casted him brilliantly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh God, where are we? Yep. So see when actually danger comes, and even with Strider with them, they're not safe. Once again, this is where the Merry and Pippin characters, they could have just been jokey, jovial, but the scene in Hilltop where Frodo's like asleep having dreams, and then he hears the sound come through, and it's those cooking breakfast at the top of the hill, and he freaks out.
Yeah.
And that's showing them not getting the gravitas of what's happening.
No. Because that's their personality, right?
Yeah, because of no sense of, even after being chased by an Nazgul, they've still not that sense of danger. They're not hardened warriors. These are simple country folk that just live their lives.
Yeah.
And they've no reason to be hardened battle warriors that live in discomfort.
Not with the environment they live in.
There's absolutely no reason whatsoever for them to have to do it. And the fact that they didn't go just, oh right, we're warriors now, because that's a lot of movies make that mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. They stick everybody together, and it's like there's no individuality, and we don't invest in characters like that.
Yeah, and we're over this now. We all cope and we'll carry on and blah blah blah. And that's why you switch off and you don't care. And that's why so many movies are forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, they're great little characters. Yeah, and I think we get to see just how much we miss them when they go away, when they get taken. That's kind of like a oh no moment, oh shit, what's going to happen?
Yeah, because they could have been annoying characters. You could have said, oh, thank goodness, something, we'll get rid of those two, but they don't, because they still have their moments.
Yes. Yeah.
But even like how long have we done? Just over an hour. We're not even got the Rivendell yet.
Yeah, no. Rivendell, yeah.
Like we haven't even got part of the way through the plot of this.
No.
And already so much world building and so much stuff's happened.
Yeah.
And I just remember back in the day, just more, yeah. And you're just, I don't think anybody went for blue breaks or anything. You know, it's like a normal action movie. You just like, all right, nip it out for a minute.
Yeah.
Nobody moved.
Don't want to miss a bit.
Don't want to, yeah, might miss something here. And I remember just that feeling the whole way through. There's so much storytelling happening. And you just had that feeling of, this is important. If I miss something, I'm going to miss something later on.
Yep, absolutely. And you couldn't go back and watch it again because it was at the movie. So
yeah,
you miss it. That's it.
Yeah, and obviously, like, I don't know how many times. This is, like, that's just the initial box office. That's not counting for merchandise or how many re-releases of the DVD box sets, the Blu-ray box sets, special editions, extended editions.
Yep.
Ching, ching, ching,
Yep.
This was definitely an investment and the right man to do it, because no other movie could do this level of, not since the start of things. I mean, there's nothing held on the fan base like this.
No.
And brought new fans in. That's the important thing. I can almost guarantee a whole generation of people read the books because of these movies.
Possibly, yeah.
Definitely. There's no, there can't be any if buts and maybe. There's people who've never read the book, maybe heard of it, because that's, you can't be exposed to literature and not hear of Tolkien. That's just one of those things.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Even if you never read him, you know of him. It's like Dickens and,
Yep.
You name it. Shakespeare, you don't hear about the written word. You might never have read a line of Shakespeare, or you've heard lines here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you've definitely heard of Tolkien. I think people have actually, sorry. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
I just felt that one coming, flipping. I'm like trying to talk through it. Sorry about that. But yeah, people have actually went and sought out the books and possibly became readers because of these movies. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. The younger ones, definitely.
Yeah. Brilliant. But we'll get introduced to the Shire. We'll get introduced to the Isengard. We'll get a brief glimpse of Mordor.
Terrifying.
We don't get the Whisper Mood in this. But then we get Rivendell, and then we'll get that first scene between Arwen and Strider.
Oh, yeah.
And God, that's this is not a wishy-washy love story, but you actually get time for loving this as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, this isn't the love interest or just in the plot. This is a genuine love story, and that was a major part of the book. There's a the fact it can tell that story, like, that's a story on its own. An elf and a human, and an elf giving up her mortality for love, and the conflict between the families and the line of society. And that's a whole story in itself.
Yes.
I mean, there's been entire movies made on just that portion of this.
Yeah.
And we still have time to get the feeling of their two characters.
We do.
Because Liv Tyler isn't a brilliant actress, let's be honest.
No, she's not. not at all.
Like, she has
No.
done mediocre roles.
Yep.
But she became Arwen.
She did, and she took it, and she made it hers.
And you think, Elijah Wood isn't a brilliant actor. A lot of these guys, are not fantastic. They haven't set the world on fire from the left or right. In fact, that's why quite a few of them just, they live off it because they've nothing else.
Yeah.
But it just goes again, shows the skill of Peter Jackson, because he got these people, he got the best out of them.
Yeah, he did. I mean, that Aragorn and Arwen story, their love story is just, they only show us a snippet, here and there, but we realize it's going to become important, later on in the film. But that love story is not too over the top. It's not dragged out, and we get to see, love in amongst all the darkness, and we can see that they've been in love for such a long time, and we didn't need to know how they met, but then they talked about how they met, which was really quite sweet as well. Yeah,
when you have those little moments of levity, because that's another thing. This movie takes you up, and you have the little moments of levity, and then that it's not being wasted. You're getting bits of plot, and you're getting world building, and you're getting these interactions.
Yeah,
of the bigger narrative.
Slow moments. There's some very brilliant slow moments in the film that just get you a bit of relief from all that, because there are a lot of fight scenes in this first film, aren't there? There's just too many to even count. But so with those lovely little moments, there's lots of them in this first movie. It just gives you a bit of relief. It really does, and it shows, I don't know, Peter Jackson's skill at being able to put all those different elements together and make it work. He's good at that. He's like that.
This could have been a mess, like you said.
Yes. Especially the fight scenes. They're very chaotic. But once again, we get to see how he can contain all that chaos and make it make sense. Yeah. And it's easy to follow along.
We've seen his first two movies are unbridled chaos. That's just him getting it all out of his system. Let's be honest. I think I'm starting to see the journey now. Bad Taste and Dead Alive. That's just pure rampant chaos.
Yeah.
And he just getting it all, and he's just I think he's going mainly from a special effects, but he still managed to produce long-standing entertaining movies.
Yeah.
Heavenly Creatures, where we see this first attempt of bottling the chaos.
Yep.
And releasing it at certain points.
Yep.
God, even Forgotten Silver, we've seen that, he's still got that bit of chaos thrown in.
Yes.
But he didn't let it overtake. Like, there were so many, and that little documentary thing, there were so many times the chaos could have overtaken, and he could have ruined the gag, but he didn't.
No.
Because you can see he has a vision. And obviously, Frighteners, you see what happens when studios interfere and don't let somebody do what they're meant to do.
Yep, absolutely.
And that was the lesson, so all led to this. He spent this time. He mightn't have been a massive Hollywood director, but I think it's better that he wasn't. Because he wasn't tainted with all that nonsense.
That's right. He hasn't been molded to other people's visions as well. And he kept his own true self.
Oh god, sorry, I'm not even looking at the chat. Sorry, folks.
Forgot you were there.
Yeah, sorry. I warned you at the start. We were just going to nerd out for however long we're going to do it. You knew this was coming. Oh, Cameron got annoyed with me. He's like, "Why don't you do something?" I was like, "Well, you're working. For doing it, waiting for you at 4 a.m. or something, my time, and you'd be tea time or something. You're,
yeah, exactly
weird." Can't imagine not liking this movie. But supposedly, Tolkien's estate was not thrilled with it, and have tried to disassociate the books from the movies. Yeah, there was a bit of that, but that's to be expected. Don't forget as well, Tolkien was a visionary, but he was a pure academic. And I think he just had that rare creative spark.
Yeah.
Like, by rights, he should just been a stuffy academic teaching at universities. It just happened that he had this story he had to tell. I think it was just unique, but as the rest of the family have just been brought up on the back, they haven't done anything. Christopher Tolkien tried to write a few books off his daddy's back, but none of them are authors or creators. And they're very, born into privilege, very stuck up. It's very old school aristocracy type.
Right.
It's like Ian Fleming was the worst snob ever.
Really?
Yeah.
And
I remember he hated Sean Connery when he first played James Bond. He saw him and said, like, no, can't be having that. And that's the same. That was the times though as well. Ordinary people didn't get to create.
No, they didn't, right?
It was only reserved for the aristocracy. So there was this, it was a different world, different time.
Yeah.
And this is a reaction to the old world and the new world. That's why I laugh at the youngsters today thinking, oh, we're changing. We're like, we have been through this decades ago. Go away.
Yeah, exactly.
We have actually seen the change and been through this. You know nothing about worlds colliding.
No.
But this was the old world and the new world, the peasants are, doing it, and there's still that weird thought of it. Now it's just manifests in different ways, but there's always going to be that. If you grow up and you haven't earned your way in life and everything's just handed to you and your whole being is off the back of someone else's success, you're going to have your nose stuck up in the air and you think you're princess. Hollywood today is a perfect example because most of those people are second generation Hollywood people.
Yes, that's true.
Even the actors, they're not new. Their mother and father have been actors and actresses or in the music industry or something. You're not seeing new talent. And that's why everything's degrading.
Yeah.
And this was an example of the new, this is something getting shaken up and reinvigorated for a new audience. But they don't have to work. They'll never have to earn anything in their life. You're talking generations with a legacy that built up. And I can't remember the grandson's name, Christopher's son, but if anyone's going to ruin the Tolkien estate, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
But that's always the way of things. Someone builds it, the kids maintain it, the grandparents fritter it away. That's the cycle.
Yeah.
But then it leads to rebirth and renewal. That's why I don't get angry, because it's when you understand that it's a cycle of things. So when something can't stay like that forever, then you get reinvention, you get renewal, and you get, that's how we'll move forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're seeing it now. We're seeing that Hollywood's crumbling, the mainstream media's crumbling. This is all, stagnant, stale.
It's stagnant.
They're just going through the motions. They haven't earned away. They've all been put into these places. So yeah, their own degeneracy, they're falling, and there's something exciting ahead. If you have that right mindset, that's why I don't try to talk about certain stuff on this channel. That's why I don't want to get into that nonsense. I want to focus on there's a positive way forward. If you've got the right idea and you genuinely are an artist or a creator and you want to tell stories, the time is coming. This is Tolkien and this time, like the Tolkien estate rebelling against Peter Jackson's movie. That was a crux, and he reinvented cinema.
Yeah.
And he also what do you call it? Rowling wouldn't have happened.
The what?
J.K. Rowling.
Right.
She would not have happened.
Yep. No, you're right.
Because this made people read books. That's what you got to remember. This first movie, because if this first movie had been awful, if you weren't invested, this is an adventure of its own, as you can probably tell from our talk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It drew out the whole sci-fi thing, didn't it? It pulled out Harry Potter, it pulled out Twilight, all these
everything. No, none of this would have happened.
Yep.
That's how pivotal, and that's why there's rebellion, because you got the stuffy old school, you got this spark of creativity and just pure joy at what they're doing, and that's always, the two will never mix.
Yeah.
You got to steal Hollywood. You know, I mean, Hollywood's coming stale. Don't forget, this is early 2000, wasn't it?
Yes, 2001.
2000. Yeah, this is like right after the millennium. Like the 90s were, you know, the 90s action stars, the 80s action stars, that had all died down.
Yeah.
Cinema was in a weird place. Like, you notice we harken back to the 80s. The 90s were okay, but we're not really blown away by the 90s. The 90s was becoming that sort of stale. Movies were coming formulaic, boring. Yeah, there's always, you know, I mean, you can always pull examples, but generally it wasn't an exciting time.
Even with music, it
Mhm.
wasn't.
Oh, no. 90s was the worst decade ever for music.
It was. Yep. Unless you were
Except this decade.
unless you're Michael Jackson or someone. Or,
yeah.
Yeah.
Except this decade, because this is just nothing. There's no excitement for music whatsoever.
No, except for YouTube channels who are, you know, musicians who are creating their own stuff on YouTube channels.
We're in that Reddit. I think that's what it is.
Yes.
Nobody goes to the charts anymore. People look for independent, and you can have a small niche of 100 fans. You know what I mean? And we're in this. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. Because there are bands out there, but generally the accepted norm is just nothing. Nobody looks at it.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what's in the charts. I couldn't tell you an artist.
Yeah.
And it's not me being an old fart. It's just generally nobody's interested.
No. You want to find good music, you got to go on and find these independent people who have gone from 0 to 5 million fans, you know, and they love what they do, and they don't need to go mainstream. They don't need it.
Yeah, and that's
so, you know,
that's a
we're in a
good point,
weird
actually.
place.
Yeah, because there's a band well, a couple of years now, Skinned. You know, they base all their songs on true crime.
Really?
Yeah, do you know what? You never heard it? It's very dark, electronic, you know, music.
Oh.
But they purely come out of the YouTube era. You know, I mean, they're online band. I'll send you a link. Actually, you might appreciate them. SKYND. But yeah, loads of bands I got.
Yeah.
I don't even realize. Do you know what? If you hadn't said that, I don't even realize I do that. I find all these random groups and bands and singers, and I don't even bat an eyelid, and I just think I'm in my own little world.
No, you're not. I found some brilliant ones that have just popped up on my you know, when you're watching YouTube and the ads come up and there's a song, and then it's like, oh my god, who the hell's this? And you know, you go and follow them, and it's like, oh my god, they've got a whole, you know, there's NF, there's Dax, there's all these people that are just brilliant artists, you know, and they're not even mainstream. They don't even have concerts. Oh my goodness, you know.
Yeah, I don't even realize I'm doing it. That's how, you know, I just accept it's the way of things, you know, myself, because I just
it's perfectly. Yeah, it's normal. It's absolutely normal now. Yeah, it's just people just don't. I mean, I don't even go and buy a CD anymore. You know, I can just bring up my favorite songs up on YouTube. You know, it's just that's kind of gone now. It's kind of sad that we don't have music shops anymore. But
no, it's but the best way is to actually support the artists. Just, you know, buy a T-shirt, buy an edition. You know, sometimes for a collector's item, buy a CD.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's always a way to help out an artist.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Even help them get the ad revenue by sharing their videos around.
Oh,
there's Oliver. Greetings. People coming in now. Yeah, but so music's already been through that, and it's you know, it's doing its own thing now and completely free of the machine.
Yep.
And it's a pure meritocracy, because if you don't grip an audience directly, you're not going to do anything. No. Rather than being told by some corporate entity, this is what you listen to. But Peter Jackson with this movie did that with cinema, because we saw where it was going, like sequels, remakes, reboots, the usual, you know, tired formulas being done to death. And not only did he reinvent cinema, because this created a whole slew of movies and the whole way of storytelling, and now it's been done to death because we've gone through that cycle again.
Yep.
but also getting people to read books. Books were dying to death. The end of the 90s, people weren't reading. And this reinvigorated people to go and pick up a book again. And then Rowling, what do you call her? Collins, Suzanne Collins.
Stephanie Myers.
Myers, that's the other one. They wouldn't have happened. Whether you like them or not, or fans, it doesn't matter. They would not have happened if it wasn't for Peter Jackson getting people to go, oh, this is based on a book. This story's been around and I never heard of it. I'm going to go and try and read that.
Damn right. Yeah. Well, that's kind of fallen at the waistline now, hasn't it? It's kind of sad, You used to get excited about a movie coming out and you go and buy the book first and then you go and buy the T-shirts and all the, all the stuff that comes.
Yeah, because there's a world being created. You want to go and...
Yes.
Yeah. I was talking about this last night, actually. Role-playing books are the most, even if you never plan to play a game, some of those books and the thought and care goes into the world building between each of the stories is amazing.
God,
like that's like the last line of storytelling, because that's genuine storytellers, because they know if they don't do it right that they get ripped a new one, because if they don't tell a good story, you can't play a game through it. You can't imagine.
It is phenomenal, the amount of hard work and the amount of people that go into making one game. I mean, the credits can go on for half an hour.
Well, I had action fiction on here. I had, people are developing a brand new game. I had them on the show and talking, and you've musicians, you've artists, you've storytellers, you've, people are into the mechanics of building the game, and these people all come together, and you wouldn't think it would work. But the fact is, they have the singular vision of wanting to get people immersed. And talking to them guys are brilliant. It got the passion from them, And looking forward to that. It's a game called Cthulhu Dreamt that's coming out in the new year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, while it's not happening in cinema, it's happening in other places, Creativity never dies.
No, it just moves into another medium, and then it comes back again. There's anime as well. That comes and goes. I'm not a fan of anime, but the people I live with are. They absolutely love it. And I can see the beauty of it, but it's just not me. I'm just not into it, but I can appreciate it. I'm not into playing games either, but I can appreciate the art of it, and that's why this trilogy was just so amazing. It just covered everything from the music score, the soundtrack that came out of it. You got Enya on board that was making music.
George Galloway, he's from Northern Ireland, the flute player, the man with the golden flute. And problem is, he's a nasty little man.
It's a shame.
He's a nasty little man.
He's got to be one everywhere, though, eh? Yeah,
that kind of sort of seeing his name and the fact that he's involved in this just made me go. But he's obviously he's the top class flutist, but flautist, sorry. But he's just a horrible person.
Yeah.
And he represents the snobbery of Northern Ireland, especially when it comes to music. It's actually what put me off learning, and I tried learning to play instruments out there, and just the whole stuck up. If you haven't done this from a child, if mommy and daddy didn't get you music lessons, from sort of middle class, and if you don't do that, it just completely ruins any joy of.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Oh yeah, that's the worst thing about where I'm from, actually. There's some great literary minds in that, but the culture is just death of creativity. It's just a stagnant, stale place.
Gosh.
Shame,
Yeah.
It's that you have to, it's this old school what we're talking about. It's still that old school mindset of the Tolkien estate. Back to the point.
Yep.
Yeah, man, this we're not even halfway through the scenes, because even getting to Rivendell and then the whole coming together, and the fact that Elrond saw fit to bring and the elves are so standoffish and so insular, And even there with the mindset, we're leaving, because we can hear at the start, they're leaving Middle Earth, their time's coming.
Yeah.
They're not actually invested in Middle Earth because they're getting ready to leave.
Yep.
But still, this is deemed important enough to call all the races and the tribes of Middle Earth together, because it can't just be decided by him.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we start seeing them showing up, oh god, that's just so awesome. Get to see Gimli and yeah.
Gimli's my favorite character of the whole series.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, mine's probably Aragorn, but never mind. Yeah, no, they're just incredible. Yeah, I love that.
He just has that gruff, like, matter of fact, blunt sense of humor about him. Just okay, so we're going to die then. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But then we see his emotion come through a little bit later. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, we even see it in this movie because like when we go to
I mean in this movie a little bit later we get to.
Oh yeah, when you meant later on in the trilogy, because we see character arcs galore.
Yeah. So we see some characters who aren't really playing a major part played quite a big role eventually. Yeah, it's kind of sad when. Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Well, one thing in Rivendell is when we see Frodo and Bilbo together again, and
pull the tissues out, will you?
Oh god, Bilbo just purely remorseful. It's like, I'm sorry I've dumped this on your shoulders, But Bilbo lived a peaceful, happy life. It was only when the ring woke up.
Yeah.
I mean, the ring went dormant.
Yep.
And it was when Sauron's power grew. It's when the ring woke up, and it just shows how potent it is, that Bilbo was not ready for it.
No. He was old. He was getting tired. He'd had enough. Yeah.
But he aged even from the time of him standing in the Shire. Don't forget, this is only like months, about a month and a half of travel at that.
Yeah.
This wasn't years of travel. This is all done within, like, this is straight hard traveling.
Yep.
Between him leaving and, celebrating his birthday, he's standing up tall. He's a haggard old man by the time he gets to Rivendell.
Yeah.
And it just shows the potency of the evil of the ring, what it's done to him.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't even want to give it up. He wanted to give it up, but he didn't want to give it up.
No, because it was whispering, and it's that thing of the ring decided it had to move.
Yep. Just amazing. Yeah. But that reunited scene. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was brilliantly done. Yeah, because he was young, and then he wasn't, and it was like, oh my god, you can see his age. Yep.
Yeah, and I think that was the shock of it. It was just a short period of time. If this had been at the end, when we see him at the very end, but
yes,
if it had been that time, you'd have expected. But this is supposed to be the shock of, and he's in Rivendell as well. He's in the Elven, so he should have been reinvigorated.
Yep.
But it shows as well, and then we'll already see the effects from Frodo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's very quick. He hasn't had it for very long.
No.
And very quick, his change is coming over from that happy little hobbit to this very dark, somber type of character who just looks freaked out all the time, and it just really haunted. Gets you invested in him. He's haunted. That's the one. That's the one.
Even before he was stabbed with the Morgul blade, he was already, like, if he had got stabbed, it wouldn't have made a difference. He was on that road. It just quickened up and made urgency. But we still got a moment of levity, them coming together again, and then you see that this is a party that genuinely love each other, and you get that sort of sense of it. So that's what's going to hold them together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously then when the ring's brought out and you hear the ring whispering and turning people against each other and all ready to, and that's what Gimli's again, right, let's just smash it. That's just...
Yeah, I know. It's not that easy.
But you got to respect that, you know what I mean?
Oh, he's a fabulous character, isn't he? He's just awesome. Yeah, you really invest in him by the end of this first movie. Yeah,
he's the roots. He's this dependable.
Yeah,
and you know where you are with him.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's no question of him turning back.
No.
Yeah. He's that
It's
sort
not
of resolute,
Yeah. Strong character. Yeah.
But even seeing them, like, they're trying to go to the Gap of Rohan and know that Gandalf's taking the harder routes because he doesn't want to go into the mines of Moria.
Yeah.
As well, and the battle between him and Saruman, we'll see that when the wizards fight, worlds can tear apart. That's why it was always a thing in the Hobbit that he hid his magic. There's scenes if I use my magic, it would be lighting a beacon.
Yes.
The Dark Fort. I remember a line in the actual book about why they never displayed their powers openly, because I was like, well, you're a wizard, why can't you do this, that, that sort of imagination.
Exactly.
But we see a bit of the battle between two wizards, and the fact that mountains were crumbling.
Yeah, right.
It's a reason why they didn't.
Yeah.
But the mines of Moria. Like, you thought you were frightened with the Nazgul. This took it to another level.
It was truly petrifying, really. I mean, it was so horrific, I like the little build up at the beginning of that scene where they're trying to get through the door and they don't know how to do it. That's quite comical. I thought that was really brilliant. And then they get in, and then you see
speak friend and enter. It's really that simple. But you needed those minutes of levity.
Yeah.
You
You did. Yep, absolutely. Because it gets you set up for it's all fluffy and lovely, and then no, it's not. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah. This is the only bit of bad CGI. Was that like octopus thing?
The creature.
The kraken type creature.
Yeah.
That was the only bit of bad CGI in this. Like, even watching it again, I couldn't get with it. It's the only thing in this I couldn't get with.
Yeah, I don't even think they needed that part in it. Like the Kraken, I don't think they needed him in there. It just it kind of took away from the. It was just felt like another scene that was added in for no reason, which is kind of.
Which has been odd because everything else has been so tight.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the only thing I was a bit disappointed about. I remember when I first watched, I was still a bit like, well, why?
I think it was in. I can't remember if it was in the book. It's been ages since I've read the book, but I think it was a major scene in the book.
Right, the battle so they couldn't have left it out.
So it was a major. It was a guardian of the mine. It had been installed there. It was a guardian, but when you watch it.
Flat. It kind of fell flat, didn't it?
Yeah.
And then I think the scene was too dark in the first place, like the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
It was very dark. Yeah. So it was kind of hard to see who was getting picked up and what bit was getting chopped off and what was happening, kind of thing. And then, it was just, I think it's only
real complaint about this one. That scene easily could have done without it.
Yeah.
Honestly, if they had just solved the riddle again, moved in, and then to see the absolute horror of, the fact that everyone's gone, it's been overrun. They're an entire an entire tribe of dwarves. Like, this is the dwarven city. This is like a capital city in a major country. In dwarf terms, the fact that it's absolutely laying to waste.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But was it? It was Pippin. Yeah, it was Pippin flipping. That scene where he can't leave things alone. And even like I watch this and I just have memories of when I was in the cinema. I think that's what it is. Like, if you didn't get to see this in the cinema, I'm so sorry you've missed out. Like, this was an experience.
It was.
But I remember that in the cinema, the clunk, 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 boom, boom. I know, and even guy just getting it every time it crashed.
Yeah.
Full of a toque,
Oh, no. Did you have to do that? Yeah. little shit. Which is like, that's what I was, God, swearing at the TV, going, oh my God, I forgot about that bit. Oh, you God, you little shit.
Yeah, but it's I'm just everyone held their breath.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd still have to remember the end. This is a bloody movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there, but you felt like you were, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
And you knew
You
it was
do,
gonna,
eh?
you knew things were gonna kick off anyway. But the way it was done, and that you're just like, oh, and just hearing every bump.
Yeah. And that's Peter Jackson for you, right? Not just the head falling in. No, we got to have everything falling in and making those noises. It's just so well done. Yeah. Had you
Yeah.
on the edge of your seat, eh? It's like, shh, did they hear? Did they hear? Oh my God, they heard. Oh no,
Yep.
here it comes.
The drums start.
Yep. And then when we see the troll cave for the first time, woo!
That has to be one of the tightest action scenes. Like, you think that's all in an enclosed space, and in between a CGI monster and practical effects and everything, like, that is so tight and so well choreographed. It could have been cheesy as hell.
Yep.
Even Boromir looks out and the arrows like hit, and he's just like,
Yes.
oh, they've got a cave troll, you know. And we'll bar this door, not that it's going to do anything, but it'll give us like 3 seconds to ready ourselves.
Oh no, brilliant. Oh God, that was a terrifying scene. Oh gosh.
And there's an example of there's CGI that could have been done really badly, but the amount of detail like invested in creating that creature for one scene,
yeah,
you had to believe it.
yeah,
and I had to match with the goblins.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, love the troll caves. They're awesome. Cave trolls. Yeah, magnificent creatures. Oh my gosh, I remember seeing that for the first time and going, oh my God, how did they create something like that? Wow.
But then, like I said, Tolkien describes every creature, right down to the, you know, there's a reason the book's that bloody thick. He does, you know, and he describes every person and that, and you've got an image in your head.
Yeah.
Of what they're like, so you could not do it, if that makes sense, at that level.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be right, you know, and like I said, nobody else could do it. No one could do it now because we've already seen what they've attempted to do with like a million, flipping so many million in an episode of a stupid like.
Full splat, yeah, absolutely.
Terrible. But that's nothing compared to actually seeing the Balrog.
Yes, God.
That's another thing, because in the Silmarillion, right, they were Sauron's master, Morgoth. He has armies of these things that ravage the earth, and this is one of them.
One.
Ooh. And Morgoth had armies of them, you know. That's why I think they shouldn't have wasted time doing the trilogy. They should have done one movie of the Hobbit, and then they should have done the Silmarillion. I don't know what went wrong there, but there was the next masterpiece to be brought out, done right. But there's that level, even though it's a much thinner book, level world building that, because it's even before middle. You know, I mean, it's the first age, and you've armies of Balrogs fighting.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
God, how awesome!
But that Balrog, you know, just the fear of, and this is why Gandalf didn't want to go into the Mines of Moria, because he knows it was there.
Yep.
And of course, you get the most well-known line spoken anywhere: "You shall not pass." Like, that is taken over pop culture. That has taken over pop culture. Like, there's so much.
Like
yeah, that basically that was, you know. I used to have a wee sign. It was like a wee Gandalf, you know, as if it was a warning sign on the door: "You shall not pass." Brilliant. I mean, it just ended up everywhere. But the delivery of that line,
yeah, There's some brilliant lines in there, eh?
One does not
Yeah.
simply walk into Mordor. You know, I mean, that's how many
Yeah.
memes has that appeared in? Surely he knows about second. You know, I mean, there's.
Second breakfast,
But
11ish.
it was already there. It was already in the books. This was just brought out into the
Yeah.
world. That's why I said
Revived.
that's why I said this thing just reinvigorated, not
Yep.
just movies but literature as well, and
Yep. it
got
did.
people excited again about reading and imagining.
Yeah.
But yeah, even having read the books, even knowing what's ahead, that's what I love about this movie. Like even watching it a couple of nights ago again for the 100th time, I'm still devastated when Gandalf falls to the Balrog. And that last bit of run, you fools, you know, and everyone's just broken on the hill, just ready to give up.
That's just, it fractured the whole entire thing, didn't it? They just took their blimmin' enthusiasm away. It took their hope away. Their guiding light's gone. What are they going to do without Gandalf? But it doesn't stop there, does it?
But that's the whole,
going.
And that's the essence of horror, though. The pressing darkness. You know, the loss of all hope, the loss of all will to carry on. You know, I mean, this is where it works. The sort of bringing those devastating elements in to a story. It's like, it's all over. There's no point.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yep.
We may as well just lie down and give up. You know, that's
you
know, that sense of hopelessness.
Yeah. I mean, it all started really from that when Boromir was, you know, decapitated. One of Peter Jackson's favourite things to do. That was a pretty horrific scene, but that was the beginning of the fracture.
We didn't find a Morris Minor in this, though.
No, we didn't.
I was looking. I thought if I was going to be anywhere, it was going to be in the Shire, and there was going to be a Morris Minor, like buried somewhere. Like a little side of a mound shaped like a Morris Minor, but he didn't do it. So he was taking this seriously.
No trams, no Morris Minors. Yeah.
But we got a decapitation.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, had to have the decapitation. Yep, did that really well.
Favorite thing to do.
Very well. He was allowed to keep one thing.
Yeah, and then we'll have this like the spur leading into Lothlorien, you know, and even set that up. Like, there's tinges of horror there as well, you know, and there's the whole Galadriel. You know, if you didn't know who Galadriel was, you hadn't, you know, even when you first read about her, she's known as a witch. You know what I mean? A dark witch. You don't go into her lands or else you never leave, sort of thing. You know, it's like the opposite of Rivendell. I mean, Rivendell is like
absolutely
bright,
sunny,
hope,
glassy,
a place of rest.
Yep.
You go to Lothlorien and you're into a dark place, like it's just on the cusp of, you know, and we'll see the test. You know, we'll see that they arrive. She already knows that they're she can, like, the look on there, and like she sees right into their souls, so to speak.
God.
You know, that's, you know, you get that sense of ominous sort of dread,
intensity. Yeah, absolutely. But she's also very light. You know, she's all lit up white in this very dark scene.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's such a contrast of images.
Yes.
Because you walk and you see, you know, I mean, and it's like this could just turn on a cusp of, if you're not welcome, you're plunged in the darkness, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Galadriel and like they're right on the edge of darkness.
Yes, they are. They're on the
by
cusp.
their nature.
Lines. Yeah.
This is an example of an ambiguous, you know, is this a hero or a villain? Because she could just as easily be either. If you're an enemy, she's a villain, you know, she's a person of mystery, and her lands you do not tread. It's not somebody you treaty with easily or lightly.
You can tell she's the ancient, right?
Yeah, and a sense of danger all around.
everywhere. Yeah, it's kind of creeping through the whole place there. And then that scene when she comes down and she's talking to Frodo. It's wow, incredible. Just she's a scary lady.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because even when they're resting, they're not. There's a sense of unease.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we gotta get out of here. Nobody wants to remain. Where Rivendell, people are happy to remain and be part. But here, it's like, we don't belong. This is not. We are not of this world. This is not for us. We, any sign of sort of weakness is just brought out, and it's terrifying. I mean, there's this sense of terror throughout. I didn't even watching it. I didn't feel rested. It wasn't a moment of levity like Rivendell. It's
no
sense of, oh, we need to leave. This is not a good place. I do not belong here. Yeah. And I think to belong there, you have to be something else, even in Elvish terms. I mean, this is something else. But we see the test, obviously, and we see that Frodo again, he's not tainted by the ring. He's bearing the weight of it, but he's not tainted, and he's still prepared to offer freely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we'd seen Gandalf's reaction earlier to it.
Yep.
Pure fear and terror, and Galadriel's the same. Actually, they're afraid of this thing.
Yeah, they all are. Even Aragorn.
And Galadriel has a ring. Galadriel has one of the was it
9 rings?
Was it 9? No, it was 3 to the dwarf, 3 to the elves, 9 to the man.
That's right.
11 to the dwarf. So she has one of the 3 rings.
Yep.
And she is powerful beyond belief, and she is terrified of this thing, and it's
yeah. And you see what happened with Boromir. He was about to get taken over, and look how fast that happened. He really wanted that ring because he could have done so.
And we're only getting hints of what's going on in Gondor.
Yes, we're getting little hints, right?
That things are not good, and then obviously that'll play out later on. But we're getting hints of this is good, and that's once again, this is Jackson's storytelling, and like I said, through a series we've seen it. He's dropping those little breadcrumbs so that when it comes later on, you're ready for it.
Yes. Just like with the little scenes of Mordor as well, and the building of the army, like literally building the army in the ground, and making all the weaponry and the arsenal and all that sort of stuff. We only see little snippets of those, and then we're out again, and then we come back again, and so we get to see them getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like, and then when we see the hybrid come out for the first time, it's like, oh, holy shit!
Yeah,
he's huge.
So Uruk-hai,
yeah,
and not just and this is one of the Tolkien things. This is all from the First World War. This was the industrial war machine of the First World War that he witnessed firsthand, and it horrified him.
Really?
Yeah, that's where his inspiration was. He'd seen. I wholly recommend you watch Warhorse. That's one that really brings in, like, people forget the horror of the First World War. That's what I'm saying. Everyone concentrates on the second one. People forget it's not. It was just horrendous. Just the living conditions, the way, and plus the mindset of people. People were, if you were below your in the social status, you were chattel. There was that mindset throughout the world. If you were higher up the pecking order, anybody below you was just chattel. And the movie, like I said, it really brought that home. Warhorse.
Yep, I'll track that down. Have a look. I might have already watched it and just forgotten the name. That's usually what happens.
Oh, sorry, Adam. Just so you're on the channel as well. If you haven't understood, we have been doing this series on Sir Peter Jackson, and obviously it leads to this. But one of the questions we asked, because believe it or not, Peter Jackson is a horror creator. He's a horror movie maker. That's his background. Yep. That's his whole thing. If anybody, like, we honestly go back through. We've been covering right from Bad Taste up to now, and obviously it's leading here. And one of the questions we asked when we decided to do this in the beginning was, how did he get Lord of the Rings? You know, and we see the absolute insanity of his first movies. It's like, how did he get here? But now that we're here, we're seeing Peter Jackson as a creator, and we're seeing what actually from the horror genre he managed to make. And I don't think another type, you know, I mean, a mainstream creator couldn't have done it. This is where the beauty of people that, you know, embrace the horror genre and look into the darkness and don't flinch and use that as a tool. And this is part of our discussions, everything else about what the preconceptions of the horror genre. People write it off as low rent, low budget, you know, talentless people, and you couldn't be more wrong. Yes, like anywhere, you've got your different levels, you've got your stuff that gets churned out, you've got real masters of craft. You look at masters of cinema, of literature, comes from the horror genre.
Yep.
And I think it took a horror director, you know, not just one down it in to make the next slasher. I mean, actually somebody who's invested in the genre and making that material. That's what it took. And we've seen this journey up until now that nobody else could have done it. Like, and the journey had to happen the way it did for this movie to happen the way it did. And this was pivotal. And you see the horror elements through it. Yeah, it's not going to be gory. It's not a slasher movie, but you do feel proper senses of dread. Like the Thorian itself, a supposedly safe haven, is not. You know, one misstep and you are doomed.
Oh, yeah.
Like you do not feel safe.
Yeah.
And it's just a different facet of, you know, this place is just as dangerous, if not more, than Mordor itself.
Yeah.
In fact, it's more subtle. It's a more subtle danger. It's a more like barrier where Mordor is a blunt instrument.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Mordor is a blunt instrument, but this is, you know, this is the assassin's blade. This is, you know, something more sinister that you make a misstep and that's it. And none of the party feel easy through this. And then when they're leaving, you can actually, when they're actually in the canoes, once again, Peter Jackson's use of lighting.
Yeah.
You see them leaving Lothoriel and the light changes and you almost feel the relief. Like I know I did.
Yeah.
They're leaving like that sigh of, they're out again. Yeah, they're going towards danger, but still.
But they made it out.
They're out of there. They were in a dangerous place.
Yeah.
And they're only suffered, you know, their presence there was suffered. It wasn't welcomed.
Yeah. Yeah. One misstep and you're gone. Yeah. One wrong word and you're gone. That's the feeling I got.
But even at this point, we still haven't got that. Like, what are you, about nearly 2 hours into a movie, and you're still like a whole scene to play out.
I know, right?
Because already the reveal, the plan to say that the fellowship's starting to break up already. The ring's whispering and looking for the weak minds. It wants to get back to its master. You can see that happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, Boromir is the one that falls prey to it.
Yeah.
But even then, the ring doesn't even want, you know, it just wants Frodo to wear the ring so it can get identified, so he can call out. Because by wearing it, it's what it does. You know, it's all playing these games. And then we'll get it, you know, we get the final, you know, we actually see the final battle with the Uruk-hai, and God, they were devastating. I was looking back in like I said, the making this because I just had to. Everyone that auditioned, the basically brought in every martial artist from New Zealand and whoever would travel in. Like everyone was like a black belt.
Yep.
They did not mess about with. They didn't just get actors. They didn't just get extras. They got people who, you know, different skills. You know, every martial art you can think of, but they actually got fighters to make these orcs.
Wow.
Because it was important. Once again, this is Peter Jackson's level of detail. He did not just want people, here, have a sword. and just run. No, he wanted actual fighters that would look as if they're an army.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He didn't want them to be written off as, like, we saw the goblins, and we saw, you know, some of just blundering, you know, sneaking around and that. We got that, but this was Saruman's creation, this abomination.
Abomination.
And he wanted that that feeling, and that's why everyone there was actually a trained fighter.
Wow.
And bloody hell, it worked.
Oh God, yeah. They were terrifying, and yeah, I mean, you'd have to have big, strong men to play those big roles.
But
because
once again, you can
tell they were real people.
Yeah, but I didn't
didn't
mean to jump in there. Just but you could get a bunch of bodybuilders, right? But they're not fighters.
No,
that's the point I was trying to make. Is you could get a bunch of big hulking bodybuilder types, but no, he specifically wanted fighters.
Yeah.
And that's what made them terrifying, because there was big, but there was also normals, but they all carried that about them, that presence of soldiers.
Absolutely.
You know, people, you know, that had that, and that's something you can't train in 6 months. That's something you have to be dedicated to.
Yeah.
You can take a fighter and train them to act a wee bit and act in certain scenes, you know, go through drills, but you know, that's something that has to be honed, and he specifically requested that for the Uruk-hai,
I mean, that's his attention to detail, isn't it? That's just him just going, oh, it's going to make, you know, I want to make this film, but I want to make it perfect. So, you know, there's lots of extras in the film, but yeah, you're right, particularly with those creatures. Oh, God, you need to have massive men.
And that's back to what I'm saying. His whole thing was that it doesn't matter whether you're an extra or you're the 10th down the line, you have the same detail of equipment as the main actor or actress, because that was important, that you did not get taken out of that scene by something shoddy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yep.
And
so they're all considered equal. Instead of, say, just other movies who just use extras as number fillers or whatever, you know, people in the background that, you know, don't even look at the camera properly or something. There was none of that guff going on. You know, I mean, I know in the bloopers there were some missteps, but generally, all in all, it was perfect, you know.
But once again, it didn't just happen in one take.
Around during the day as well. That was just like, oh my God. The not night walkers, the day walkers too. Ooh, makes them even 10 times worse.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing of orcs when he came out at night, and then that's why Saruman bred them. And once again, you need a horror director to understand this, that to make something terrifying during daylight, that is a horror craft.
That is
a craft of a horror storyteller, that even during broad daylight, things can be terrifying. So it takes that mindset where somebody who's not familiar with the horror genre, like, oh, well, scary stuff happens at night, fluffy stuff happens during the day. It's like, no.
Not in this case.
No, but yeah, that final scene, just the attack, and then obviously because Saruman had given them a command, bring the halflings. And this is where Merry and Pippin, like I said, could have been so easy to make them the joke, to make them the butt of things or distract from the plot, but they had their moment. The bit where they were hiding and they saw Frodo, and Frodo makes it clear he's not going with them. And they understand, like, with a look.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sam understood it too. You know, he could see that something was going on. That's why he went running after him.
Yeah.
Hey.
But that scene with Merry and Pippin, that they understand that Frodo's not going with them.
Yeah.
And they give themselves up, essentially. You know what I mean? They get the orcs to chase them. You know what I mean? That little scene where they at that moment, they understand the gravitas of what's going on. And then they step up and do their bit.
Yeah.
And that's, you know,
that was important, you know, it really was, considering they were quite, you know, funny in the scenes, and then they had to make that decision, or what for, to save the Shire from being eliminated, or to save the world. It's like, oh my goodness. And that was such a sad scene when you see them just give themselves up, but they all were invested in getting this one thing done, and they decided that they were going to do it. And yeah, I think picking those two characters was really good. And then to have them have that realization was even better, that this isn't fun and games. We're actually in terrible danger. They've just seen Boromir murdered, decapitated. So yeah, scary.
No, Boromir didn't get decapitated. He was the one shot with arrows. It was the chief orc.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he makes the last stand. He repents basically for his moment of weakness.
Yeah,
understanding that all's for naught. This thing has to get away, and really like how many loads, like I said, loads of fights and battles and everything throughout this, and still the classic Peter Jackson. We've seen it with Dead Alive. Like he can just take you from 10 and take you up to 15, take you up to 17, take you up to he can still manage to ramp it up. He's the only director I know can do that.
Yes.
When you think there's nowhere else you can go, he can take you up on our level.
He'll find it and he'll take you there.
And we've seen this even through this movie. And it's his style of directing that's made this possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember just thinking at the end of this as well? Just, right, stick the next one in now. Right, come on, cinema. We're not waiting another year.
God, I know.
Like, I remember in the cinema just going, what? But that promise was made to us. We will return in the Two Towers. Yep. And I just felt like we'd almost entered into a covenant with the director.
Yeah, right.
It's weird, isn't it? But it must be a nerd thing or something. But just he generally this movie, he made a promise to us. He's going to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
And at the end, I was like, okay, I'm ready now. I don't want to wait a year.
Yeah.
I'm ready now. You've already filmed it. Come on.
Yeah, I know. God, it was worse even over here because we were seeing them everywhere, and it's just like, well, God, hurry up and get it done.
Get back to work. Flipping, slapping Ian McKellen around the head. Oh, you get back up that hill.
What are you doing at Starbucks?
Get back to work.
It was mental. It really was. And I was actually there. I was a bit of a fan, have to admit. So I was there when they did the big parade for the third premiere.
Mm-hmm.
For the premiere for the third movie, they did the premiere over here in Wellington. So there's hundreds of thousands of us following the parade of actors and Peter Jackson and everyone to the Embassy Theatre, and you go home and you come home, get back and get dressed and go and line up for the after party, and got to shake their hands and see them all, and it was just like, oh my God, that's so awesome. And yeah, it was incredible. And then, but oh God, that wait. But if he didn't do it back to back to back, we could have had to have waited 5 years. Something could have got in the way.
It would have done.
It would have taken years, and who would have invested in that? Waiting 3 years for a movie to come out.
And he wouldn't have got the freedom to do what he did. I think honestly the decision he made of this is, and back to our last review of The Frighteners, that needed to happen. He needed to have that exposure to Hollywood, and what a dysfunctional mess of an institution it was. I think he needed to have, because up until then he has been he has been making movies on shoestring budgets, and with Heavenly Creatures we saw him bring it all together and he was ready for the next step. I think he needed to be brought down.
Yeah,
I think actually he needed to have Frighteners. He needed to have that bitter taste of things going wrong and interference and it not landing, and to give him the drive, because if Frighteners hadn't happened, I don't think this movie would have landed. I think he would have still been, yourself as a creator, you can't just sit and have everybody tell you how great you are. or you can't have everything go your way.
Yeah.
Because if it all goes your way, then you become lazy, you become complacent, you lose that drive.
Yeah.
And the more I think about this series that we've been doing, Frighteners was so important.
It was
It
vital.
needed to happen. He needed that to happen to him.
Yeah. He needed a reality check for his dreams, prioritize.
And to prepare himself. And I think that's what made him think the way he did and be, be smart. And thankfully he did, because I stick this in the Blu-ray player and I still feel the same chills watching it again.
Yeah.
I was ready to stick 2 towers on straight away. I genuinely was, but I'm like, no, we're doing this properly. We'll wait the 2 weeks. We're not waiting a year. We're waiting 2 weeks before we do the next one. And we'll take the movie, give it time to soak in, and take that movie on its own merit. Because it'd be so easy to stick all 3 in and do a review of them all and be here for like 10 hours.
I had to stop myself from hitting go to the next one. It was like, no, I'm not going to do it. Otherwise, I'll get my head in a tiz and I'll forget everything that I'm supposed to be talking about today.
Exactly, and that's by doing it this way, we're taking this movie on its own merit.
Yes.
As well, because you know why sometimes if people look at a series, you can blend everything in together, and then you can miss parts or be forgiven or unforgiven, whatever, of how it turns out. But I'm thinking now back to me in that cinema for the first, I think I watched it 6 times. I watched it anyway. I went again and again, like till it ran out. I think we all did at that time. It was just minds were blown.
Times.
Didn't just go to the cinema once, But still getting that experience and remembering of what that was like. And that bit at the end of, right, I'm not sticking the Blu-ray in for the next one. I'm waiting, and that anticipation for the 2 towers.
Yeah. I know.
Talking of which, folks, you're going to have to wait 2 weeks. Then we're going to be doing the 2 towers, and I hope you are ready for it, because definitely can't wait to get this. This is going to be the rest of this journey. It's going to be ups and downs from here. So we're on the up bit, and then it's going to be a down and bit of up, and going to be interesting how it turns out. But yeah, this is brilliant. Love talking about this again. I'm glad we've had this opportunity to do it.
Me too. Oh God, it's so special. This movie, this trilogy is so special to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to get the opportunity to review it. Yes.
Yeah. But also, I think we've done it right with the context of the journey, because it just gives it a new angle.
It does.
Like you said at the start.
Yep. Different perspective of the whole entire thing can, as opposed to just watching it now. It's like you can see the elements in there that Peter Jackson just does so perfectly, and it's just like, wow, it's amazing. Yeah, this is brilliant.
Yeah, and it's I'm genuinely excited to see the rest of these movies now again through this lens, because it's refreshing everything. And I remember why I love movies. I love storytelling. It just reminds me things, I guess. Just
it does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Magnificent.
So there you go, folks. There's our review. Hope you enjoyed it. Yes, Adam, we are doing Lord of the Rings on a horror channel, but we can, so meh.
And there's horror scenes in it anyway. So
yeah, there genuinely is, because truly terrifying. If it wasn't wrapped around in fantasy, this could easily be a horror movie. Like if he let the dark bits go, God, this would be grim. There's so much opportunity there for this to be like a grim, proper. And there are beheadings, there's arrows, and this is back to our other conversation about if it's in a horror movie, you're like, oh, that's terrible, but people accept it here.
Yeah.
There's strangulations, you know what I mean? There's monsters being ripped out of wombs. They're being bred and choking the first thing they see.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly fine, but if it's in a horror movie, it's the most evil thing ever, and horror creators need to be shut
More
down
sensitive.
because you're like, what?
Okay.
Yeah, idiots. I will always push back against people that.
We will. We will.
Yeah, you've got a few strong minds here. We'll always push back. We're not easily bowled over.
Mm.
But there you go. I think we'll near 2.5 hours in a review course. But still wasn't longer than the movie.
No.
It's just about right. There you go. Once again, Dale, thanks for being here. Thanks everyone that tuned in, joined in the chat. As always, keep up to date. We're back in 2 weeks' time for the next one, and keep up to date with the channel. Do the type of clicky things, and until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.